record. All right, guys, we know how we start. One, two, three.
I'm ready.
Yay! Oh, that was a good one, but we're going to do one more. Get that energy pumping. One, two, three.
I'm
All
ready.
right, guys. Good morning and welcome to the first day of July. For many of us, the calendar flips and our minds immediately race to the next goal because in our industry, we're back to zero. We rush to the next closing, the next meeting, the next challenge, and we're always asking, what's next? But this morning, I want us to ask a different question. When was the last time that you paused long enough to appreciate how far you've already come? I think one of the biggest mistakes that high achievers make is that we become so focused on the next destination, we never actually celebrate the journey. We achieve a goal, and before anyone can even say congratulations, we move the finish line. We help one family, now we're thinking about the next one. We finish a project, now we're on to the next. We accomplish something that we hoped for a year ago, and we barely stop long enough to smile. Well, I think we're guilty of all of it. Absolutely. And I think the deeper issue isn't that people don't like celebrating, it's that high achievers often confuse celebration with complacency. They worry that if they stop, they'll lose their edge. This makes for a much more powerful lesson. Why do we feel so guilty celebrating? Have you ever noticed that someone congratulates you and your first response is, oh, it was nothing. I got lucky. I still have so much more to do. I'm not where I want to be yet. We minimize our success. We brush it aside, almost as if celebrating somehow takes away from our humility. Or worse, we convince ourselves that if we stop to celebrate, we'll stop growing. Well, I am one of the people that absolutely had thought this way. I thought that if I acknowledged a win, I might lose my hunger or my fire in my belly. That if I pause for a moment, I might lose my momentum. But I've learned something very different over time. Celebration doesn't create complacency, it creates gratitude. And gratitude fuels our purpose. I recently read something about what happens to people that climb mountains. When climbers reach the summit of a mountain, they don't stay there very long. In fact, they often spend only a few minutes at the top before beginning the descent. But here's what's interesting. Almost every experienced climber will tell you that they intentionally stop. They take a picture, they hug one another, they look around, and they become completely present. Do you know why? Because they understand something. They know how hard the climb was. They know what cost it was to get there. They know that there will be another mountain someday, but for this moment right now, they choose gratitude over urgency. Imagine if a climber reached the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro, looked around for 2 seconds and said, okay, what mountain are we climbing tomorrow? You'd probably think they missed the whole point of the journey. Well, that's exactly how many of us live. We accomplish something we've worked months for or years for, and instead of allowing ourselves to feel joy, we immediately ask, what's next? What's the next goal? I'm at zero today. How much farther do I have to go, and will I surpass last month? It's as if we're constantly moving the finish line further and further away. And eventually, we stop feeling successful altogether. Not because we aren't succeeding, but because we've never allowed ourselves to experience the success. I wonder if that's why so many accomplished people still feel a little empty. Not because they haven't achieved enough, but because they never pause long enough to acknowledge what they've already achieved. There's another reason why we struggle to celebrate. Sometimes we feel guilty because we know someone else is struggling. We think, how can I celebrate when someone else is hurting? Or I don't want people to think I'm bragging. Well, let me share something with you. There's a difference between pride and gratitude. Pride says, look what I did. Gratitude says, look what I was blessed to experience. Pride elevates ourselves, while gratitude elevates everyone around us. When we celebrate with gratitude, you give other people permission to celebrate with us. You remind them that hard work is worth it, that perseverance matters, that growth deserves to be recognized. Celebration isn't the end of ambition, it's the fuel to the next chapter. So today, before you think about everything you still haven't accomplished, spend a few moments celebrating what you have. Because if you don't learn to celebrate today's victories, tomorrow's victories won't feel any different. You simply just keep pushing out the finish line. Team, it's July 1st. And before we dive into July's goals, let's honor June. Not because we're satisfied, not because we're slowing down, not any of those reasons. It's because gratitude fuels greatness. Think back for a moment. What did you accomplish in June? Maybe you reached a professional goal. Maybe you repaired a relationship. Maybe you became stronger. Maybe you helped someone through a difficult season. Maybe you learned something brand new. Maybe you simply made it through a month that was challenging. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't what everyone else can see. Simply, it's refusing to give up could be the victory, and they deserve to be celebrated. But don't stop with celebrating yourself either. One of the greatest gifts you can give another person is recognizing them. Today, I encourage all of you to think up to someone else that had a great June. Maybe it was a teammate, a friend, a client, a mentor. Reach out to them. Send them a random text. Give them a call. Tell them, I just want you to know how proud I am of you. I saw how hard you worked. I know what you overcame. Congratulations on everything you accomplished last month. Never underestimate what that encouragement can do for someone. Sometimes people are carrying far more than you realize. And hearing someone say, I see you, I'm proud of you, can be exactly what they needed to hear. Reflection isn't looking backwards. It's looking back long enough to learn so you can move forward wiser. Always remember that your windshield in your car is much bigger than your rear view mirror for a reason. You're meant to spend more time looking ahead than looking behind. But you would never remove the rear view mirror because occasionally you need to look backwards, not to stay there, but to appreciate how far you've come. Remember, never feel guilty for celebrating your progress. Gratitude for yesterday's victories gives you the confidence to pursue tomorrow's dreams. So take the time today to celebrate June, honor your growth, recognize your victories, and appreciate the obstacles you overcame. And then take one extra step to celebrate someone else. Success becomes even more meaningful when you acknowledge not only your own journey, but the journeys of those around us. Encouragement is one of those greatest leadership gifts you can give. Team, let's celebrate your progress. Celebrate someone else's. Reflect with gratitude. And then let's turn that page because July is waiting for all of us. Make it a remarkable day, everyone. Great job in June. Let's go. Have a good day.